Elevation Nation, we have an extremely special guest joining the podcast, which I don't know how it's the first time because we've been following each other on LinkedIn, supporting each other, and we have pretty much all the same mutual entrepreneurship friends. We have on Jack Adler, founder of Out2Win, and Jack's story is incredible. Not only that, he's a good human being, which, as you know, in Elevation Nation, that's pretty much the main thing we care about. You can have a cool story, but we like good humans as well. Jack, I'm so hyped to get into your story, how you started out in entrepreneurship, and learn a little bit more about you. Welcome to Elevation Nation, brother.
Yeah, I'm hyped too. Thank you guys for having me. As we were talking about before, I kind of feel like I've been a part of Elevation Nation for a while now, and it's an absolute honor to officially, formally be a part of it. And I mean, it's just incredible what you guys have been doing for the past several years, and I'm just really excited to finally be, more formally a part of it.
Well, we're excited too, and obviously we're very honored to have you, Jack. I hinted at it before we hit record, but this might be episode 400. I just have to put that out there. Sam and I have been on a mission the last 5 years trying to help people uncover their mental fortitude to conquer the real world. And 400 episodes later, dude, you might be the special guest that gets to crack or send us in to the 400s, which is pretty incredible.
It's only right.
Right?
I feel like
Isn't
it
that
just
crazy?
makes sense,
Yeah. Does 400, is that a special number for you by chance?
It
Just
is
making
now.
sure.
It definitely is now. This episode is going to be the best episode you guys have ever had. I just have a weird feeling.
Okay, fair enough. That is a tough task.
It's a
Tall
really
task.
tough task.
I'm putting that out there. We've had some incredible people on, and obviously Sam and I have had some good conversations with each other through the years. But you're also coming from your attic, right? Walk us through a little bit about the home office.
Dude, I'm coming from the attic here. We got a little college flag up here that I have to blur my background out so I don't look like a frat boy in my meetings. I got a little billboard back here where I have my life mottos written on the wall so that I'll tell you what those say later. So I can talk about kind of what gets me through each day. I got a little standing desk right here next to my bed if I want to, loosen up the legs after a long day sitting at the desk. But man, people always, kind of make it sound like a bad thing, like living at home with the parents after college. I don't have to make my own dinners. My mom does my laundry still. I'm living a life, if you ask me, spending $0 a month. So,
Well, Mrs. Adler, I hope you listen to this because you should start charging Jack rent. I don't know if you know, he's a pretty successful entrepreneur, and he should be paying you. Sorry, Jack.
yeah, no, that was actually brought up a couple weeks ago. That's when I decided to put out. So I figured it was my time to take the big leap of faith out into adulthood, as they like to call
Well,
it.
welcome. We know a little something about that here at Elevation Nation as we help young adults transition from college to the real world, and that's what this podcast and this company was built on. So we can talk all about that. But before we get too much into the weeds, Jack, this is Elevation Nation. We like to have everybody do a little elevator pitch. Can you tell the people, besides living in an attic for a couple more weeks, who you are?
For sure. So I had to do this elevator pitch actually a couple days ago in my Shark Tank tryout, which the odds are against me there, which is why I think I have the chance to make this the best episode in Elevation Nation history. Anyways, my name is Jack Adler. I'm 24 years old, entrepreneur, graduated from Syracuse about 2 years ago. I launched Out2Win Sports as a junior at Syracuse when name, image, and likeness legislation was passed. I helped brands like Reebok, Oakley, and Nerf build their first ever college athlete marketing campaigns. Realized that brands care a lot less about how many touchdowns an athlete can score and more about how they can move the needle off the field as an influencer. So decided to pivot into building what we call the intelligence platform for athlete marketing, which provides data, which equips brands with the data analytics to decide which athletes are the right fit for their campaign. And now we're working with brands like Olipop, Roback, and more, and universities like South Carolina and Michigan State and others to help empower their athlete marketing partnerships. So yeah.
So you're helping people get paid.
I'm
Fair
helping,
market value.
I'm helping people get paid, but I'm also, helping those that are paying make smarter decisions about who they're paying.
Fair enough. That's pretty incredible. I
It's
mean,
fun.
are you a data nerd or are you like a sports nerd, or are you combining them both together?
I'm a sports and entrepreneurship and marketing nerd, and I brought those three
Okay.
together. And data happened to be a big piece of the puzzle because that's if you're a business not making decisions backed by data, then what are you doing in this era? So, kind of came across that realization while working with brands to build campaigns, and made the decision to make that pivot into building a tech platform for the purpose, yes, of like better servicing the clients we're working with, but also because I realized as an entrepreneurship nerd the scalability that allowed us as a business to really go take what we were building and turn it into something that was investable, scalable, and could become a rocket ship.
Well, clearly you're doing something right. I know you just raised a lot of money and you got a nice valuation from that. I'll let you talk more about that. But let's go a little bit back to 3 years ago when the NIL policies and rules were all reshaped or created, if you want to call it. I'm not very much a nerd in that world, but I know what happened. And what happened was is that athletes can now get paid for their name, image, and likeness. And you're there as a college student. And I imagine a lot of big businesses were like, wow, this is a big opportunity. But yet, there's Jack, junior in college, sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take on the big guns. Walk us through, how did the first idea come together?
Yeah. No, that's super funny because a lot of the big businesses, the big sports talent agencies, were trying to get their foot in NIL. And I think what became obvious pretty quickly was that I had the competitive advantage because I had my feet on the ground on a college campus. So I got to see it all in live action. And before you knew it, the big agencies like, the CAAs, the WMEs, the Excels of the world were coming to me asking to help them navigate NIL. I just thought that was funny because everything you said was completely true. I was 19 years old. I was living in a frat house, and I was the first ever college student NIL agent in America. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was, kind of figuring it out as I go, building the plane as you fly it, as they like to say. So a lot of where it all began was I was sitting in an entrepreneurship class. I was an entrepreneurship major, and I was sitting next to a couple athletes that had no idea how to navigate the brand new NIL space. That past summer, I was an athlete marketing intern for an agency that connected brands with athletes, and I got to see the behind the scenes of deals with Tyreek Hill, De'Aaron Fox, and it was like a super eye-opening experience because I almost didn't even realize that this layer of sports existed, the marketing side, because it was very new at the time. And I realized what needs to go into a deal between a brand and an athlete, and I kind of took everything I learned in that summer and applied it into the building blocks of Out2Win, and into what we've, I guess, now created today, 4 years later.
So I got to dig a little deeper because it's hard for me to even wrap my head around. In college, Parker and I, we tried a handful of different ideas and businesses and tried to drum up new companies to start because we loved entrepreneurship too. And I will unfortunately admit none of them ever stuck. Walk me through, obviously NIL gets announced, it's COVID, you're not doing much, you're laying low. This opportunity pops in your head, but how do you even go about making your first dollar? How did you, as such a young age, navigate okay, now I made $1, crap, do I need to be an entity? Do I have to file papers? Do I need to file taxes now? Do I need a website, a business? And the reason I want to dig into this is Parker and I, when we first started our prior company together, we went about everything so backwards, which was, okay, we think we have a business model that our business school told us how to make. And then we were like, all right, we need business cards and a website. And we spent hours doing all that shit before we had even made $1 just to make us look legit. You kind of took a different approach where you're like, I don't need to be legit. I'm cool being the youngest college agent. Let's just make some money. How did you kind of navigate it that way?
Yeah, I think I have to give a massive shout out to the Launchpad at Syracuse, which is the entrepreneurial hub for students on campus. And there's one specific person who runs it called Linda. Her name is Linda, and she is any entrepreneur that's come out of Syracuse, she has been the mentor for. And she's like what I like. I was up at Syracuse a couple weeks ago, and what I told other entrepreneurs there why Linda's so special is because she's the first person to ever believe in you before you even believe in yourself when starting a business. Like she's the one, you walk in there and she tells you that you can do what you're setting out to do, and she instills the belief in yourself that you can do it because she'll point to other examples of students that had no idea what they were doing, and she, you know, kind of mentors them through figuring it out. So that was like number one. It was having a mentor in my corner that not only believed in me and made me believe in myself, but two, navigated me through some of those questions so that I didn't go down the wrong path and build everything backwards. So a lot of like those very first building blocks were taking advice from people like Linda, who were telling me that if I waited until everything's perfect to launch, then I would never launch. And I think that was like a big motto of what we got started with was we're like back to the saying before, we're building the plane as we fly it, because if we wait until it's fully built, it'll never fly.
Well, shout out Linda.
Yeah, seriously.
Linda was what we call at Elevation Nation, sounds like on your board of inspirers, someone who's inspired you to keep pushing and giving you the fuel and the inspiration to find it within yourself and believe in yourself, I imagine.
And yeah, like Linda specifically has almost made that become a mission of mine to inspire others, and almost like, because everyone does need a Linda in their lives to like believe in you before you believe in yourself, but not everyone has one or can find one. So I like, especially after starting to grow Out2Win, kind of took it upon myself to just start talking to as many student entrepreneurs as I can to answer questions and be the one to believe in them and push them in the direction of just throwing yourself in the fire and taking ideas out. And like I don't have any like actual official like anything for it, but I have this Google sheet on my computer that I call the Inspire Agency, and it's just a list of people that I consider like my mentees, and I'll just like look at that sheet once every couple months, and it reminds me who to follow up with to be like, hey, have you done this that you said you were going to do when we talked 2 months ago? Like everyone needs someone to push them through like the early days of an idea when they're not even sure themselves if it's has any legs to it.
So you're working with Linda, you're working with other people, I imagine, at that like incubator, whatever you want to call it, up at Cuse. You live in a fraternity house. Sam and I lived in a fraternity house. You know, you went to Syracuse. It's pretty good time. Yeah. I imagine it took a lot of mental fortitude, and I don't want to sit too much on like the college life, but I want to sit on this a little because it really does go to show you as a person that you were willing to put off all the things, maybe not all of it, but put off things that all your friends might be doing, having a good time. You're probably skipping certain things, saying no to other things. Like, walk us through that perspective as you're saying, all right, Linda's giving you like, dude, you got an idea. Let's go. Let's build this thing. And you're working to make it happen, but there's probably a million things pulling you so many different directions.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to say, like, I had a ton of fun in college. I didn't let that hold me back from it, you know? I say no to certain things? Definitely. But I also like found a way to balance my time and make it so that I was able to kind of almost live both lives in a way. It felt like different lives. So Linda, the Launchpad, it was like a specific location on campus, and that location just happened to be like a window facing main campus. So as anyone's walking past to their classes, they can see through the window. And I would be there from the second my friends were going to their first class until they were leaving to go back to for their last class, and maybe they're going to get food later on. I'm still there. So like there was just a running joke in our friend group, like of all my college friends, that like I live in the Launchpad, which I really did. I spent almost every waking second of when I wasn't back at the frat house, either sleeping or partying, to be working on the business. And that was like my other life. Like I haven't watched Severance, but I've heard way too much about it recently, like the innie and the outie. Like my work life was at the Launchpad, and my outside life was at the frat house, and I almost like did live like two completely separate lives and found a way to manage my time within uh, feeding both of those lives.
Not an easy task. I
Yeah, it
give you a
wasn't
lot of
easy for
credit
sure. And I
because
did
it's
take slack from my friends for it a bunch. Like, come on, dude, what are you doing? Like, come party, come hang out. And they understood that I was on a mission like that was
yeah.
bigger than a college party, and they would respect it. But at times they would also like try to push me, like especially senior year. It's like, dude, well, we only have a few ones of these left, and uh, a lot of those decisions came up where I would have to like decide between
Yeah.
which one was pulling me, which direction I want to go. And I mean, in perspective now, looking back, it's like, hey, we're still here, we're still moving. So I think I made the right decisions.
I would say so. I think every college kid, especially every college entrepreneur, goes through that challenge of
Yeah.
finding what sacrifices they have to take. And so I give you a lot of credit. It sounds like you made many of the right ones. I want to go now past college, right? You start this incredible thing. Linda gives you all the support that you need. I want a Linda in my life. She sounds great. You start a company, graduate. Now we're up in the attic. You have no
Not
friends.
not right to the attic.
Not right to the attic. Where did we go? What did we do?
So I graduated and I thought I was going right to the attic. And I got a call from the athletic director of Syracuse University saying, we need Out2Win as a resource at Syracuse. Pretty much like, don't leave. And I, in that agreement, was offered the opportunity to get a scholarship for my master's at Syracuse University. And I went back for an additional year of school at Syracuse, where I was in partnership with the athletic program at Syracuse and getting my master's in entrepreneurship. On the first week of classes, the professors were saying, all right, guys, this semester we're going to brainstorm an idea and we're going to go through the process of getting that idea off the ground, but like hypothetically, like it's all going to be hypothetical. So I go up to my professor and I'm like, hey, like, can I use my business that I'm already doing within this class? And he's like, no, that ruins the purpose of it. It has to be something brand new. And like every different class was like, it was an entrepreneurship masters, and every different class was talking about like these hypotheticals within entrepreneurship. So I go to the vice chancellor and athletic director who kind of like helped build this whatever agreement with Syracuse, and I was like, look, guys, I need to drop out of this master's program. I don't know what I'm going to use this for. It's taking time away from what I can put towards our partnership, put towards the business. I want to stay here. I want to continue contributing to Syracuse NIL program, but I'm not taking 20 hours a week of classes. It's taking away from 20 hours I can put towards more important things. And it was like a really tough conversation because it was like they wanted me there taking the classes for the sake of like the business, like for whatever reasons, but they agreed to let me drop out of the master's program, and just like that I get to add college dropout to the resume.
College dropout to the resume. I like
It makes you sound so much cooler as an entrepreneur. I won't lie, I did drop that line in the Shark Tank tryout. I won't lie.
that. Yeah, they might dig a little deeper into that, but what's even better is that you're a college dropout, but then you basically your first client was
The college.
the college that you were
Yeah,
paying to go to school there. Like
unreal.
that's unbelievable. So you're living on campus, you're getting Out2Win off the ground, and I imagine things go pretty smoothly, or am I mistaken?
Oh, I mean, smoothly is definitely not a way to put it. Like, also on top of all this, remember I lived a life of like balancing like living in a frat house with building the business. Now everyone's gone. Every single one of my friends is evacuated Syracuse. They're all out living in New York City. I'm in like what feels like hibernation because I'm no longer going to class. I just am living in this random apartment by myself in Syracuse working on the business now actually 24/7. And so not only was it challenging from just like, of course, there are business obstacles, but there are even like personal mental obstacles I was facing from just diving into this brand new chapter of my life that felt extremely lonely and, uh, you know, I was very isolated in Syracuse. So from one end, I was trying to figure out kind of a life for myself after college, and on the other hand, we made a massive pivot in the business to begin building this technology. When, mind you, I haven't written a line of code in my life. I haven't ever really looked at a product and thought about it technically, and now I was building a software. So all the learnings that I took from building Out2Win, I realized tech was necessary, but I didn't even know how to get there. So I now had to figure out how to get there, and that was a lot of talking to people that could kind of navigate me in the right direction. And that, year at Syracuse was absolutely, life-changing for many reasons.
I think it's interesting how many entrepreneurs have done such a hard pivot. Obviously still in the NIL space, but you started this thing because a couple guys next to you in your entrepreneurship class were athletes and needed representation. That is very different than going into the software space, to the data space, to the technology space. And I think, Parker and I have been joking. Wouldn't it be so much easier if Elevation Nation was like a t-shirt company? We would know how we're doing. Like, you just have to sell t-shirts. You're either selling them or you're not. And now I guess the 2025 version of that is, wouldn't it be great if we were a SaaS company that could get a sick evaluation and just get sold and make a shit ton of money? And unfortunately, we are not in that business. Until we clone ourselves, we aren't scalable to the fact that we can only speak in one place at one time. But I think it's great that you did take a step back and you said, where can I take this business? Where should I strategically put my efforts? And so let's talk a little bit about someone with no tech background now is building this new company based on tech while also doing everything an entrepreneur does. And then I think probably most importantly, navigating young adulthood. Like, I had a full-time job, and I was miserable as a young adult. If I didn't even have the steadiness of a paycheck in like a full corporate job, I don't know what I would have done. How did you navigate all those changes in your life at once?
Yeah, a lot of them I'm definitely still navigating, because now it feels like I'm actually into young adulthood, because remember then I was on a college campus surrounded by college kids, and it felt like fantasy land. Like the athletic director and the vice chancellor, like I specifically remember them referring to Syracuse as fantasy land. Like, what are you going to do after fantasy land? And it's like a camp out there in Syracuse and on many college campuses. So like, how did I navigate that aspect of it, especially jumping now into, in 2 weeks I move into an apartment in Philly. A lot of it I'm still figuring out how to navigate as I go, but it's kind of like what a lot of life seemingly has become, which is like take the punches as they come and feel confident in yourself to be able to navigate it accordingly.
And so, it sounds like you're trying and you're learning and you're fixing and you're trying and you're learning and you're fixing.
It's like starting a business.
It's a continuous process, whether it be on the business side or in your personal life, right? You're going to move to this new place, and when this episode comes out, you'll already be there. Mm-hmm. And we'll see, like, you'll probably like, wow, like the business might be going well, but now you're trying to figure out a whole new world, right? Yeah. A whole new community of people and places, blah, blah, blah. And I think what's really cool and what I've unpacked from you, Jack, and what I'm so inspired by is that it sounds like you're so driven by the purpose of what you're building. And you're not willing to let really anything take you away from that, whether it be you got to be in your attic in your parents' house, or eventually, when things get different in Philadelphia, like you're ready to go. You're out to win. Like you are literally building this thing so that you can, to your point, help athletes make more money and help brands make more, better decisions with their money.
Yeah.
And so where are you at now with the business? Like, talk us through a little bit about that. What's to come? And I'm really curious about, like, are you going to get an office in Philly? Like, what's this all looking like? Give us the next step, the next chapter.
Yeah. So first, on the mission side, that is without a doubt true. Like, my belief and also just my passion for the mission is so deep. But on an even deeper level than the mission for athletes and brands, I have this mission that goes back to everything that Linda had taught me around just the what it takes to take a business from 0 to 1 and beyond. And it, like, my mission to inspire others is packed deeply under that mission to help athletes and brands succeed, because I feel like there's a story that's being created every day that we keep getting back up to continue building the business that is eventually acting as an inspiration to all student entrepreneurs across the entire globe, hopefully, that are trying to think about, what do I want to do with my 4 years of college? So like this is now even bigger picture why I was so excited for this conversation, because I know this is a lot of what you guys focus your time around. And it's something that's driven me for, the last 4 years of building this business. Is I believe that there's truly an opportunity within student entrepreneurship that isn't talked about enough, which is that you can, take that leap and have the freedom to fail and really have no consequences behind it during the time of when you're a college student. I'll pause there in case you guys have a comment on it.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think entrepreneurship while in school, I think gives you something that you can be passionate about with resources around you. And for me, when you are forced to take so many specific classes, you need an outlet where you can pour your passion. It's very similar to a corporate job. When you're forced to do X, Y, and Z at a corporate job, it is really nice when you get to have something on the side that you get to say, this is mine. This is ours. Mm-hmm. We're building this together. And so take the money out of it. Take all the friendships that you've made, whatever, all the connections. It feels really good to have something that's yours that you can just say, yeah, I'm putting my heart into this. Yeah. It's almost similar to like an artist, and I'm horrible at art, so this never worked for me. But they get this beautiful outlet of either making music or comedy or physical art that they get to say, I had a creative release. Well, I don't know about you. I suck at drawing. I can't sing. So my creative release is being able to build something. And so, Jack, I think as you're transitioning into the real world, you already have a leg up on so many people, is you have that creative outlet that works for you.
Definitely does. And I just want to say, Sam, you are an artist. You just don't think yourself as a traditional artist, right? When you're on a stage with a microphone curating an experience for 500 people, you are delivering your art through your voice.
I'm a performer.
And your actions. Like, that is what people, I think, get a misconception on, is like an artist is not someone who just plays music or draws. Like, we all are creatives in whatever we do and how we create life around us. And whether it be through a microphone or, Jack, to you, through some code, that still is an art, because it's a manifestation. Your product is a manifestation. Sam's speech and people's feelings is a manifestation of his art. Mm-hmm. So don't forget that, Sammy. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I guess on the note of like kind of coming back to where we are now as a business, so much of the stages that we went through as building Out2Win and its foundational stages, I guess I feel like I had this inherent belief that we would end up where we are and where we're going. And a lot of it, of course, goes back to this Linda and this initial starting story. But I think it's really cool now after you guys had me dig really deep into the early days of where we're at, and it's really cool to talk about where we're at today, because I feel like on the outside looking in, based on the story I was telling, it almost seems unrealistic where we're at today, and it gets me excited, because I really did, deep down believe that we would and we will continue growing. But over the last month or so, it's become especially exciting, just as we recently closed a $1.3 million seed fundraising, and now have 7 full-time employees working on the team. So coming into 2025, we had 0 full-time employees, including myself. I hadn't paid myself a single dollar over 3 years of building the business, and starting in February of this year, We now have 7 full-time employees. The 5 people that have been working with me over the last year taking what is likely not up to par with minimum wage, maybe just to have equity in the business and to build in the direction that we all feel we're building, now are under full-time salaries, medical insurance packages, to have like the dream that we're all building towards also be something that can like keep you secure through building it. It's an exciting stage that we're at, and it's all kind of just really begun over the last 2 months. But with that becomes an increase in expectations and an increase in pressure, as we now have a whole board of investors behind us that have their money behind what we're building. So they're definitely it's a weighing balance of everything that comes with it. But it's definitely been just like a very I don't know the right word for it. Someone finish my sentence for me.
I think it's been a lot of things. It's been a new opportunity. This is a new chapter for you.
Yeah.
It's an exciting new start. And
Sweet.
I'm proud of you for going through the trenches to get to where you are now. And I know even though you feel like there's this crazy horizon now that you're about to hit, when we all are grabbing a beer, hanging out in 5 years, you're going to be like, guys, just wait till what's next for me. And looking back on the podcast, remember when I was, only had 7 employees? Just you wait, man.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
I want to step in here a little bit too. And Jack, I mean, obviously you are in a completely different industry than Sam and I, but we know exactly how you feel as an entrepreneur. And as someone who's a little bit older than you, I just want to give you some advice, because like your journey, right, the last 3 years has probably been incredible. It's probably been a whirlwind of ups and downs and everything in between, but yet you're at this moment in time where you're, to your point, you just hired full-time employees. You just raised not $100,000, over $1 million. Like, this is becoming so real that you're moving from the attic. You're elevating from the attic, but you actually might be like not on the top floor. Who knows of where you're going next?
More.
But I think my advice to you is that you're going to continue to succeed, but know that the failures are coming. And they're going to come even harder, and they're going to come and might be even more painful. But what I'm really inspired by you is because you, as a younger entrepreneur, seem like you have such a foundation of what you bring to the table and what your vision is for not only Out2Win, but for yourself as a human. And you know what inspires you and keeps you going and keeps you pushing, so that when those inevitably hard times come right into your face, they try to knock you down, and it probably would knock down a lot of people, you're just going to keep pushing, and you're going to get back up, and you're going to keep elevating. And to round this all up, piece of advice is just to keep freaking going.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to continue to learn. You're going to continue to fail. You're going to continue to learn, and you're going to continue to fail. Failure is good because it helps you build the next thing. And, as someone who has been doing Elevation Nation with my best friend the last 5 years, we have failed and learned 1 million times over, and goddamn, I wouldn't take a second of it for granted. And I'm so excited for you to continue to take this thing, to Sam's point, maybe from 7 to 70 employees, maybe 700. Who knows where you're going with this thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, so I don't know if this question was coming. I saw it and you guys asked me previously, but like my motto that I live through each day of building the business, said by the wise man Saquon Barkley during the Super Bowl, stay right here. The Eagles were up by 3-4 scores in the Super Bowl. Saquon's running down the sideline saying, stay right here. Don't let them fool you. This game's not over. Make sure you stay level-headed. And through the ups where you get excited, you close a fundraise, you close a big client, you get excited through the downs of you lost out on a big deal, you had the worst day ever. Just stay right in between at each moment. And that's like the biggest thing that I've almost like trained myself on. Today was like I don't know if you guys have ever had a day where like calls, things just like seem to be going well. Like today was one of those days where I had like 6 great calls in a row where I was like, holy, like what is going on today? And that brought me into here where I was like, this is going to be the best podcast episode you've ever had because it's just one of those days, you know?
Fair.
But through it all, I keep saying to myself within each thing, stay right here. Like, don't let yourself just get too excited because the reality is it all evens out. So when the next thing happens that gives you a punch in the face, you got to stay right there. And that's been like a motto that I've lived by in building this business. And I've also tried to put on my team. Like I say, after good things happen to our team, I say, stay right here. Like don't let it get you too high. Don't let the bad things get you too low. Just stay right in the middle. Stay level-headed.
But enjoy it. Enjoy it temporarily. You know, Sam and I, we celebrate wins as humans should, because if you get to a win, you need to celebrate and celebrate well. But just know that you can't celebrate always that win because you're going for much more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack, I want to bring us into our next segment, which is our rapid fire segment. We got some quick questions we want to throw your way. You said everything's been going well, so these should be easy for you. You ready for them?
Now I feel like that was like sarcastic, so I don't know.
No, you'll be fine. This one I think I might know the answer, but I'm not gonna jump the gun. Do you have a favorite sports memory?
I mean, come on. So I was in New Orleans in February for the Eagles.
Oh.
So that whatever might have been there before, I don't even remember because that just wipes everything out of the ballpark.
Parker's like stressed over there as his Baltimore Ravens continue to disappoint. You okay, Parker?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have our quarterback. Only one team can win it all. And unfortunately, the best team over the past X amount of years is in our conference, not theirs. So who knows if the Eagles will run it back. We'll see. I hope the Ravens can make it. We'll see. My rapid fire, your Philly guy. And, you know, we hear all the time about Philly cheesesteaks, and I've been to Philly a good amount of times. Pat's and Geno's is always like the, you know, touristy option. What's the go-to cheesesteak for you, Jack?
Yeah. So I got to go with Del Sandro's. It's outside of the city, but, I mean, it's just an unbelievable cheesesteak. You can get an unbelievable cheesesteak in a lot of spots around here that you don't necessarily get told about from a tourist perspective. So Del Sandro's is my go-to, and I really want to hit that next level top tier cheesesteak. But there are a lot of good spots, like much closer to me around Philly.
I'm really curious. Will there be a cheesesteak restaurant brand partnership with an athlete coming soon? Like, is that in the works here?
It's not in the works, not actively.
Not in the works, but can it happen?
Inspire me to go do it, though. That's a good idea. We've recently begun working a lot more in the Philly area. A hint of what's to come from some upcoming partnerships. So maybe I'll have to look into some cheesesteak brands.
Now I'm getting hungry. It's almost dinner time. Jack, Parker and I love to read. We think that's a great way to get educated. I don't know if you even have time to read running a company and being a young kid, but do you have a book recommendation for Elevation Nation?
Yes. I'm pissed because I have like a shelf of books right here, but I think the one that I wanted to recommend is back there by my bed. It's called, oh my God, no, I'm blanking what it's called.
Go grab it. You're good.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up.
Oh, absolutely.
Great book. And I read a lot of business-focused books, like the books I keep at my desk are like the business-focused books that I read like in the morning before I get started. But the ones that I go to sleep with are like just ones kind of like I've become very into like philosophy. Like Daily Stoic is like something that I read that just like it all has to do with like the level-headedness stuff. Just like to kind of keep me remembering like kind of why we're all doing this beyond just the day-to-day grind.
Go ahead, Parker.
I was going to say, you're not only building a business with just you now, you're an inspirer as well. You're a leader of people. And so I love that too, because philosophy can give us that nugget of wisdom that not only we can feel, but we can help other people feel too.
Mm-hmm.
I cut you off, Sam.
No, you're good. It's I believe Parker bought me that book when I first
Which
moved.
one? Way back.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I think the second book too was good as well.
You may have bought me that one too.
Follow up, like Everything is F.
Everything's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one too. Not as good, but Mark Mark Manson,
Manson,
right? Is
yeah.
that his name? Yeah,
Yep.
like I follow him on Twitter and newsletter, and I've read some of his other books too. Like just a really smart and tells it how it is type of guy.
Need that
Love
in your
guy.
life. You need a Mark and you need a Linda. That's what I'm learning. Jack, obviously, this was long overdue. A heck of a 400th episode. You already said your mental motto, but some people fast forward to the end. Can you say your mental motto for the people one last time?
Yeah, this is a newer motto. As I said, it came from this recent Eagles Super Bowl. And like I know, like Parker, Sam, you guys might be frustrated hearing about this Eagles Super Bowl another time, so I do apologize. But there was something about that, like watching it over, that just inspired me so much, because I really do think that it's an absolute lesson that can be taken into so many different facets of life. When you're up big and you get a little too excited before it's all said and done, you got to stay right here. You can't get ahead of yourself and start celebrating before the fat lady sings. So my motto is to stay right here, and that's in all facets of life and business, is just to stay level-headed throughout the wins and the losses, because what you're working towards is a whole lot bigger than what those seemingly exciting moments, how they make you feel.
Amen, brother. I will say one thing about a football game is that it's an agreed upon game that ends in 60 minutes and that they actually do have a determined winner, whereas in business, there are no winners. There's only losers, and so you got to stay in the game. So I'm glad that you got your mental motto to continue to stay in the game, because there ain't no clock that's going to run out.
Yeah.
Why are
Might be
there
your
no
own
winners?
personal clock.
Why are there only losers in business? Why?
I think the winners are the ones who are continuing to stay in the game. But you
You just
look
said
at,
there are only losers. I don't agree with
I think
that.
there's only. I mean, you could look at winners 20 years ago and say, are they still winning now? You can find many companies. There's always you just got to stay in the game, because you're playing an infinite game. That's a Simon Sinek book. Highly recommend reading it. You're not playing a finite game like a football game. You're playing an infinite game where you're trying to keep the business alive and continue to thrive.
Now you got him heated, Jack. There you go.
I don't know. Now I'm not sure. I feel like we might need a whole other episode to talk about this. Like, why are there no winners in business? They're only losers.
You know what? I actually think that's a great topic. We have a Fortitude in 15 that we're going to be recording tomorrow. Parker, I think we should debate this, because I disagree with you.
What do
let's
you
bring
have,
it
a
to the
winner
hot
of a
seat.
quarter? You have a winner of a quarter or a year?
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
All right.
But
We're-
you got
we're
to do
saving
it
this.
again.
We're
There's
saving it.
definitely, like you look at businesses that have won, like that have taken over industries and have won. Like, those are the type of entrepreneurs that you study. I would consider them
fair.
It's the same way that you study Jalen Hurts and his Super Bowl run. I don't know that you would study Lamar Jackson's runs, because frankly he hasn't won. But
Okay, now we're throwing jabs. I
This is what
think
we
we got to
do.
end this episode.
This is what we do.
I think we got to end this episode. Elevation Nation. It's
Jack.
fair. I mean, Jack's got the, he's
As he
allowed to.
should.
I'm allowed to
He's
take
an
it. That's
elevator
what I'm
now.
saying.
He can-
That's what I'm
he can
saying.
throw some
I'll
jabs
take
at
it.
you.
I'll take it here. I'll take it here.
Jack, such a pleasure, man. So long overdue. Thank you for being episode 400. Really hope you're right, Parker. If we're off by one, this is going to be horrible. We're going to have to re-record. But Jack, we love you, man. We're so proud of what you're doing. It's our honor to finally officially welcome you into the nation. This is just the beginning for you, for us, and we just can't wait to help you elevate, brother.
yeah, thank you guys again for having me. This was awesome. I think it lived up to the hype, and this will hopefully go down as the best episode in
There we go.
history.
There we go. I love it. All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.